Mrs. Collins went on a business trip and her daughter Ella stayed in the house alone. Of course, the girl wanted to invite some friends over. Her mother knew it was inevitable, so she permitted Ella to invite no more than 2 friends. Mrs. Collins also asked a neighbor to keep an eye on her daughter. Here's what the neighbor saw when she approached the house. Is Ella following her mother's instructions? There are 5 cars parked by the house. Assuming that one of them belongs to Ella, there are at least 4 more girls in the house, but possibly even more. In any case, Ella invited over way more people than she was allowed to. Jason received a letter from a girl wanting to ask him out. Unfortunately, the letter wasn't signed, so he didn't know who the girl was. He only knew that it must be someone from his class. Take a look around. Which girl sent him the note? The letter is written in purple ink. Look, that girl over there has a purple pen, so she must be the secret admirer. Detective Callum got a call from a local store selling branded shoes. A pair of their expensive high-heeled shoes appeared to have been stolen. Unfortunately, the cameras didn't work that day and the footage wasn't available. But there was a camera at the entrance taking photos of people walking in and walking out of the store. Who is the robber? It's this woman. Look, she's gotten taller on her way out, probably because she's wearing the shoes. A police officer was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the robber entered the hospital and disappeared. When the police officer entered the building, there were 3 workers. One of them must be a robber who was pretending to be a patient. Can you identify this person? It definitely can't be this pregnant woman, and I doubt it's this old man. This man seems to be blind, but where is his stick then? I bet it's the robber who's wearing shades to pretend to be blind and draw away the police officer's suspicions. Take a look at these 3 people. One of them isn't a human, but who? It's this woman. Look, the hand behind her head is green. Avery was walking in a forest late at night. There was the full moon and she encountered 3 werewolves. Well, actually just 2, because one of them isn't a real werewolf. Which one? It's this one right here. Look, there's a zipper, so he's obviously wearing a costume. Okay, now take a look at this photo of people in a restaurant. One of them is a vampire hunter in disguise. If you were a vampire, who would you avoid at all costs? You'd have to avoid the place overall because it's the cook. Look, he's adding garlic to the dishes. Now let's check how attentive you are. Now I'll be showing you some photos and you have to find out what's wrong or odd about them. Here's the first one. What do you say? Look, the ghost is plugged into a socket. Here's another one, again with a ghost. Are you attentive enough to notice what's wrong with this one? This ghost casts a shadow. You're doing great. Here's the next one. Keep your eyes wide open. What do you see? This vampire is tanned. Those guys never see sunlight, so they're very pale. Okay, the next one is just as tricky. we're in a house of a vampire. Can you notice what's wrong here? Look at the picture in the background. The vampire is on it, but vampires can't be photographed. Paige wasn't doing well in school, so she was grounded for all the winter holidays and forced to study. Her father would work the night shifts, so quite often he wasn't at home for a long time, so Paige would often sneak out. She was very careful so it would go unnoticed. But one early morning, the father came back and realized that Paige had sneaked out at night for a party. How did he figure it out? Look, Paige's car is the only one in the neighborhood that's not snow-covered. It means that she's recently used it. Mrs. Jones grounded her teenagers for throwing a party in the house the previous weekend. They weren't allowed to go out for 2 weeks and were under strong supervision. On Saturday, Mrs. Jones left for an hour to go grocery shopping. When she returned, she figured out that someone had sneaked out for that hour. Evie said, "I was watching Netflix." Dale said, "I was texting with a friend." Kaya said, "I just finished taking a shower." Who sneaked out? Kaya. If she had really just taken a shower, the bathroom mirror would be misted. But look, it's all clear, so she got an additional week at home. The next Saturday was supposed to be the last Saturday when the teenagers were grounded, and Mrs. Jones went shopping again. When she returned, she noticed dirt on the carpet in the hallway, so she knew right away that one of the teenagers sneaked out again. Evie said, "I was just reading in my room." Dale said, "I was gaming." Kaya said, "I was watching TikTok right here on the couch." Who sneaked out this time? This time, it must have been Dale. He has wet hair, which could be weird, but it's not. It's raining outside. It means he was outside and not just sitting in front of the computer. The next Saturday, only Evie wasn't grounded anymore. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one ever works or studies. Mrs. Relham came back home after a long and fun night at a club. Her 3 daughters were supposed to have fun too. She asked them what they had been doing. Hannah said, "I went to a party with my friends in that new dress you got me." Elle said, "I organized a sleepover. We were binge-watching shows and eating." Ava said, "I was gaming all day with my friends online." Still, Mrs. Relham could tell that one of her daughters lied and actually spent all day studying. Who was it? It was Hannah. Look, her dress is perfectly clean and still has a price tag on it. It doesn't seem like she wore it. As you remember, Elle had a sleepover with her friends, so her room is a complete mess right now. Now, she's going to a beach with her friends. She needs her sunglasses, sunscreen, and her swimsuit. Can you help her find them in the room? Yes, here they all are. Great job. A day after the beach, Elle is heading to her classmate's place for a party. She needs her dress, her handbag, and her lipstick. Can you help her find them? The dress, the handbag, and the lipstick. Did you find them all? Hannah was getting ready to meet her best friend for a picnic and didn't find some of her stuff. She remembered that she had lent her shoes, her hairdryer, and her backpack to her sister, Ava. Ava's room was no less of a mess than Elle's. Can you help Hannah find her stuff there? Here they are. Did you find everything she needed? Ava is getting ready for her volleyball practice. She needs her volleyball, her sneakers, and her hoodie. Where are they? They're all here. Esme was having a walk in the forest, and guess what? She didn't get lost. Here was her way home, but she decided to go and visit a witch because she had a deal for her. I have a riddle. If you don't solve it, I'm taking your cat. The witch agreed. When does New Year's Day come before Christmas Day? The witch kept the cat. What was her response? New Year's Day comes before Christmas Day, literally every year. Shane opens a new beauty salon. He needs to hire some hairdressers and find these 3 candidates online. Bella has impressive experience. Tyler has recently won a prestigious award. Fiona specializes in hair coloring and has a nice Instagram profile. One of these candidates is a liar. Can you guess who? Bella says that she has 25 years of work experience. But according to her profile, she's only 22 years old. That's impossible. So she's the liar. Shane invites Tyler and Fiona to visit the hair salon for a job interview. He wants to test their intelligence and sends each candidate this map. Can you help them find the right destination? Take a closer look. These are English letters. To understand what's written on the map, you need to remove this icon. The hair salon is located over here. Fiona manages to find the beauty salon. Shane wants to test her skills and shows Fiona these 10 tubes of hair dye. Her task is to decide which color is different. Can you help her? This one. What about these 10 cubes? Can you sort one color out? The 5th one doesn't belong here. Shane decides to hire a cleaner for his hair salon, Bobby. Shane asked him to come every Wednesday, but they agreed that Shane would pay Bobby $2 per day. But if Bobby would miss a day, he would have to pay Shane $3. After 15 weeks, it turns out that Shane owes Bobby as much as Bobby owes Shane. How many times did Bobby miss work? Bobby missed work 9 days and earned $18. But he also missed 6 days and lost the same amount of money. One day, Shane enters the hair salon and sees 2 clients. One of them is a runaway criminal. Can you guess who? The lady on the right just gets some styling. Meanwhile, the lady on the left is changing her hair color completely to look different. Therefore, she's a criminal. On Sunday, Shane throws a birthday party at home. He invites a bunch of people. In the midst of the event, Shane decides to show his friend his new diamond watch. But he realizes that it's gone. Shane is sure that the thief is among the guests. He identifies several suspects. Violet says, I came here to keep an eye on my sister, so I was with her all the time. Jeanette says, I arrived because I got stuck in a traffic jam. Everyone's on their way home from work. So annoying. And Mike says, sorry, I was so hungry that I didn't even leave the table. Who's a liar? Jeanette. People can't come back from work. The party takes place on Sunday. At the party, Shane serves 2 dishes with cookies. Can you find any differences between them? Here they are. This night, the beauty salon was robbed. The thieves didn't find any money. That's why they took expensive gadgets and some beauty products. The criminal boss gathers all the thieves in his office to decide what to do with the loot. Suddenly, the room becomes completely dark. When the lights turn on again, the thieves notice their boss unconscious on the floor. His assistant wants to find the guilty person as soon as possible, so he questions everyone. Jeff says, "I went to the toilet at that moment." Carl says, "I was checking the stolen money in a special machine to sort out the fake ones." And Paul says, "I was drinking my coffee and got scared when the light went out." Who attacked the boss? Carl said that he was going to check the money, but there was no money among the stolen items. Only gadgets, so he's a deceiver. The next morning, Shane enters the hair salon and learns about the robbery. He calls the police. The officer arrives very quickly and examines the crime scene, but he finds no signs of a break-in. He questions 3 witnesses. Fiona, the hairdresser, says, "Yesterday, I finished my last haircut at 5 p.m. and went home." Emma, the cleaner, says, "I finished cleaning at 8 p.m., locked all the doors, and went home." And Mia, the nail artist, says, "I had a day off because I was attending a birthday party." Who's lying? Mia. Take a closer look at her hands and the door. One of her false nails is missing because it's stuck in the lock. Shane is choosing new mirrors for his hair salon. Can you help him spot which mirror isn't fake? Only this one has a real reflection. One day, a foreigner enters the hair salon. He doesn't speak English and communicates with emojis. Can you guess his job? He's a radio host. Shane decides to take some pictures for the beauty salon's social media. Each worker strikes a pose. Can you see any difference between these 2 pictures? Here they are. Shane arrives at a new beauty product store. He gets lost in the basement and the door behind him slams shut. Shane needs to enter a 5-number code to open it. Can you help him crack the password? See this note next to the door? It's a clue. Count the number of corners for each shape and you'll get the code. 30465. Finally, Shane arrives at the beauty product store. He spots some weird things about this place right away. How many odd details can you spot? There's a ketchup bottle on a shelf with shampoo. The salesman has 4 hands. This poster advertises a 120% discount, which doesn't make any sense. And finally, this mirror is lying. Shane is walking down the store and sees something very curious on the floor. It's not alive, but it has 5 fingers. What is it? It's a glove. Shane is buying one thing. It comes from a mine and it's surrounded by wood. Everyone uses it. What is it? The correct answer is a pencil. Shane comes outdoors and faces these people. Who has a superpower? It's the guy on the right. On holidays, Shane invites his girlfriend to play hide and seek in the woods with his 3 friends. Suddenly, they find an abandoned house. Shane says, "Hide over there and I'll seek." In a couple of minutes, Shane finds his girlfriend unconscious on the floor inside the house. He questions his friends. Tyler says, "I hid in the courtyard behind the fountain." Pam says, "I decided not to play and I was reading a book on the beach." Alex says, "I was playing in the garden among the roses." And Dylan says, "I hid lying down behind the trees." Shane asks everyone to show their hands. Can you guess who's guilty? Tyler. If he hadn't entered the house, his hands wouldn't have been rusty. Shane's brother Kyle is a rich businessman. They have dinner in a restaurant and meet 3 beautiful ladies. Kyle invites them to eat together. Bella is a promising model. She loves orange juice and dogs. Sheila is a divorced housewife. She has 1 little daughter. And Ella is a student and an Instagram blogger. She's in love with her car. That night, Kyle was robbed. One of the ladies stole a briefcase with $1 million. The police caught the ladies the next morning and knew immediately who did it. Can you guess who's the thief? Ella. Someone went shopping. Early in the morning, Shane opens the hair salon and faces an unpleasant surprise. Someone had knocked over a flower pot and left a mess all over the floor. Shane questions 3 suspects. Fiona says, "Yesterday, I had a date. I tidied up my workplace and left at 6 p.m. Bobby says, "I washed the entire place and left home at 8 p.m. My wife can confirm my words." And the new nail artist, April, says, "Yesterday, I didn't have any clients, so I was watching videos all day and left earlier." Can you guess who's guilty? It wasn't people who did it, but these 2 rats. Apparently, they got in at night.
In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one there ever reads or studies. Mrs. Relham came back home after a day-long snowball fight and a sauna with her friends. Her 3 daughters spent a fun day at home. She asked them what they were doing. Hannah said, "I was doing a puzzle." Elle said, "I was at my friend's. We built a snowman." Ava said, "I just stayed in bed, watched movies, and drank hot chocolate." Still, Mrs. Relham could tell that one of her daughters lied. Who was it? It was Hannah. Take a closer look at her puzzle. She barely started it. There are 3 snowmen standing in Allie's backyard. Which one of them is fake? It's this one. The sun is shining, and it's the only one that's not melting. Allie is participating in a winter quiz. Whoever wins gets a brand new skateboard. And she really wants it. Can you help her answer the questions? Here's the first one. What do you call a disrespectful reindeer? Rudolph, derived from rude. Got it? What kind of photos do elves take? Elfies, of course. Santa and his reindeer went swimming. Where did they go? To the swimming pool. Meanwhile, a bunch of snowmen went dancing. Where did they go? To a snowball. During the winter holidays, everyone gets presents. What did a cow get? It got a calculator. How many of these did you get right? Would you manage to get a snowboard if you were Allie? I hope so. Those weren't easy. Now let's test your attention with a couple of short riddles. Here are the rooms of two flatmates, Jack and George. Take a closer room and tell. Which one of them has a girlfriend? It's Jack. Look, there's a picture of the two of them on his wall. Okay, now let's take a look at these two flatmates. Both are girls. Which one of them has a boyfriend? My bet is the girl who lives in this room. Look, she has two cups on the table. An anonymous note was sent to the police, reporting that one of the students wasn't a real person, but a robot in disguise. There was a picture of a class, and the person must be in the picture. Who seems suspicious to you? Look, there are some electrical sparks around this person. Can you now find a robot in this photo? Look at this guy's footprints. They're wheel footprints. He should be a robot. Okay, now this is a hard one. Who's a robot here? It's this woman, the only one who's not sweating on this hot summer day. Also, there's an on-off switch on her neck. Charles woke up in a small room. He didn't know what happened, but there was a door. Unfortunately, it was locked, but there were 3 buttons. On one button, there was a circle. On the second one, there was a rhombus. On the third one, there was a square. And there was also a sign saying 12, 3, 6, 9. Which button should he press to get out? The clock right above the door is there for a reason. If you draw lines connecting 12, 3, 6, and 9, you will get the shape of a rhombus. So, Charles should press the button with the rhombus on it. Mr. Jones lives alone, and he left for Massachusetts to spend the winter holidays with his family. When he returned a week later, he noticed a weird detail about his house. What's wrong? Look at the roof of his car. It was definitely showing, but someone shoveled the snow in his front yard. That's weird. During the winter holidays, Vienna got a collection of her favorite book series. She spent a week reading them and left them all over the room. Now that she's done, she has to arrange them nicely on the shelf. She can't find book number 6. Take a close look at her room. Can you help her find it? This book seems like it's book number 9, but actually it's book 6, just turned upside down. During the winter holidays, a dangerous criminal escaped from a prison in Texas and took a plane to New York. New York police arrested 3 men that fit the description and asked them where they had arrived from. The first man said that he'd arrived from London. The second man said that he had arrived from Toronto. The third one said that he had arrived from Florida. Who is the criminal? It's the second man. He's underdressed for a person who arrived from cold Canada in winter. He probably arrived from Texas, but lied. Karma is a dog. She's 13 years old. Her owner, Jessica, is 40 years old. Question: how many years ago was Jessica exactly 4 times Karma's age? It was 4 years ago when Karma was 9 and Jessica was 36. In Santa's house, there are elves working all year long to make presents for kids around the world. 10 elves make 10 plushies in 10 minutes. How much time do 100 elves need to make 100 plushies? If 10 elves make 10 plushies in 10 minutes, then it takes 1 elf 10 minutes to make 1 plushie. So, 100 elves will need the same 10 minutes to make 100 plushies. A woman has 3 sons, David, Cedric, and Philip. She's about to have another son. What do you think she'll name him? Trent, Evan, or George? The woman seems to choose names that start and end with the same letter, so her 4th son's name will likely be Trent. Jane woke up in a dungeon and couldn't remember what had happened to her. She came across a big metal door locked with a passcode. Can you help her figure out the last 3 digits? 854-9176? Look, there are supposed to be 10 digits in total. So far, each one has been used only once, so maybe Jane should use the remaining 3 digits that haven't been used yet. 0, 2, and 3. But in which order? Well, there are just 6 combinations to try. But look, the other digits are positioned in alphabetical order, and so should these 3. So, the rest of the passcode is 3, 2, and 0. Jessica has 2 pets, a dog Milo and a cat Cairo. When Milo was 4 years old, Cairo was half his age. Now that Milo is 10 years old, how old is the cat? When Milo was 4, Cairo, who was half his age, was 2. It means that there are 2 years difference between them. If Milo is 10 years old now, then Cairo is 8. Let's check how attentive you are. Now I'll be showing you some photos, and you have to find out what's wrong or odd about them. Here's the first one. What do you say? The colors of the rainbow are inverted. Correct! Here's a new one. Will you notice what's wrong here? Pay attention to the calendar. It says February, but there are 31 days. February has either 28 or 29 days, but never 31. This one is even harder. Keep your eyes wide open. What's the mistake here? Look closer at the calculator. They go from smaller digits on top to bigger ones on the bottom, just like on a smartphone. But calculators have the opposite arrangement. Okay, here's a new one. What's your call? The reflection in the water is wrong. Here's the last one of these. Be attentive. This time, there's a car on the ice skating rink.
Justin was an archaeologist who explored ancient pyramids. One day, something went wrong, and he ended up locked in a tiny room deep underground. The guy got into the room through a narrow passage. It was blocked by a rock slide several minutes after he'd entered. There was only one other door in the room, but it was locked. To open it, the guy had to solve a riddle. Stand. Try to. After mulling it over for some time, Justin guessed what it meant. Can you? The answer is try to understand. Detective Taylor came to investigate a tricky case. Someone had pushed a famous basketball player down the stairs, and he ended up in a hospital right before an important game. The detective had 3 suspects, all of them the player's teammates. Connor said he had been cleaning and checking basketballs. Nathan explained that he'd had his lunch, several cheeseburgers and french fries. After that, he went to train. And Julian told the detective he had been getting a massage. His back hurt. Detective Taylor didn't need much more time to figure out who the culprit was. It was Nathan. No one eats such a big lunch before training. Mark came to visit his friend Thomas in his office. While walking along the corridor, he heard his friend shouting. He ran inside and spotted Thomas standing near a girl who was on the floor. "It's my secretary, Linda. I returned from my lunch break and saw her unconscious. Also, my safe was open and very important documents were missing." Another man, Thomas's deputy, entered the room. "Whoa, what happened here? I've been away for 10 minutes at the most. I just went to buy coffee at the nearest cafe." Suddenly, the girl opened her eyes. "Ah, I had such a scare. I was working with documents when someone grabbed me from behind. And then, darkness. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't shown up, boss." Mark told Thomas to call the police immediately. Why? If the secretary was unconscious, how did she know it was Thomas who found her? Jack and John are twin brothers. They're robbers, and the police all over the country have been trying to catch them for several years. That's why everyone's happy when one of the brothers gets into a trap after breaking into a wealthy businessman's villa. But police officers have a problem. They can't figure out whether they've caught Jack or John. The brothers are just so similar. The man also refuses to tell them his name. The only thing the detectives know is that Jack always lies and John always tells the truth. How can they find out who the man is by asking him just one question? The question the police officers need to ask is, do you have a brother? If it's Jack, he'll lie and say no. And if it's John, he'll give a positive answer. Matthew wears either only black or only white socks. One evening, he's in a hurry, getting ready for a romantic dinner with his girlfriend. Suddenly, the power goes out. The guy has 10 white and 10 black socks in his drawer, but all of them are mixed. If it's completely dark in the room and Matthew can't see anything, how many socks must he pull out of the drawer to get 2 matching ones? Just 3. In a set of 3 socks, he's bound to have 2 socks of the same color. Milan airport customs officers noticed that one man traveled abroad at least several times a week. They started to suspect he was a smuggler, but couldn't understand what he'd been smuggling. He always had a suitcase or a bag with him, but there was never anything forbidden or expensive inside. Several months later, when a new customs officer joined the team, the mystery was solved. What was it that the man smuggled? He smuggled designer suitcases and bags. You've gotten trapped in a bizarre room. Shiny, made of metal and with no windows, and it has 2 doors. One of them leads to freedom. Some danger is looming behind the other. You don't know which door is safe. 2 robots guard these doors. They're ready to allow you to leave through one of the doors, but once you choose a door, you can't change your mind. On the bright side, you can ask one of the robots a single question, but one of them always tells the truth, and the second always lies. Again, you don't know which is which. What question should you ask? If I asked the other robot which door was safe, what would it answer? The honest robot is going to tell you the truth and point at the dangerous door, and the liar is gonna lie and also point at the dangerous door. All you need to do is leave through the other door. Look at this guy. He's fallen asleep right behind the wheel of his moving car. And now he's getting out of the vehicle safe and happy. How did he survive? He was traveling in a self-driving car. The future's here, folks. Now, this girl seems to be in grave danger. She probably doesn't notice that a shark is following her in the water, but just a few minutes later, she's already chilling on the beach, drinking a cocktail. How come? It was another swimmer with a fake shark fin. Look, he's taking off his equipment over there. Oh no, this elderly lady is falling from a skyscraper, but now she seems to be safe, wiping sweat off her brow. Can you figure out what's happened here? Luckily, it was just a dream. Behind the lady's back, we can see her bedroom. Ah! A rock slide! And a huge rock is falling right on this guy. I'm gonna cover my eyes. Huh? How on earth did he survive? He's Superman. See that tiny logo on his t-shirt? It's getting more and more nerve-wracking. Now, a wild bear seems to be attacking this man from behind. Wait, and now the man is laughing hard. What made him so happy? It was just another guy in a Halloween costume. Have you noticed this zipper? This tightrope seems to be very high above the ground. Watch out, bro! Oh no! He's slipped and fallen from the rope. But in this picture, he looks totally unharmed. What magic is this? This guy is an acrobat performing in a circus, so he fell into a safety net. The manager of a ski resort has gone missing. The police suspect 3 people that are staying at the hotel. Unfortunately, no one can find any of these people. They're probably on the slopes, skiing. The police officers have no time to waste and decide to examine their rooms. Look at the suspect's stuff and say who's responsible for the disappearance of the manager. It's Joyce. He's the only one who doesn't have warm clothes or winter sports gear and equipment. It means he didn't come to the resort to have some fun. In the 22nd century, robots live among people, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. But sometimes they resemble people so much it makes detectives work way harder. Like this time, Eric Blank, an experienced police officer, has to figure out which of these 3 suspects is guilty of identity theft. He knows for sure the culprit is a robot, but who isn't human? It's the girl in the middle. She has a USB port on the side of her neck. Kyle lived on the 6th floor of an apartment building. Once, the man was having his coffee on the balcony. Suddenly, he spotted a woman on the 8th floor of the building across the road. She opened the window and threw something with great force. In no more than a minute, Kyle jumped to his feet and ran to call the ambulance. They arrived soon and rushed the woman to a hospital. What did she throw out of the window? A boomerang!